So I had to leave my wig off for this one, guys. Hello Southies, welcome back to the channel. My name is Cece and today I'm doing a little different kind of video. Now I'm going to be honest and say I have been going back and forth with creating this type of video, mostly because not really afraid, but I didn't know if I would be able to give the type of measured response that I try to give in difficult conversations, if it is, because this is something that has been an issue for years, and it's something that I myself have had difficult feelings about, but I didn't want any of that to come off as hateful or mean-spirited or any of that. And I think anybody who follows me on Twitter recognizes that whenever I'm trying to give my opinion or give my statement on any kind of issue, I want to give a measured response. That's who I am. I want to be a person that comes from a voice of reason. It's always been who I am. And so I've kind of often gone with the guise of, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I know some people are like, screw it, whether it's nice or not, just say what you want to say. And I commend those people, but that's just never been me. So I guess the question would be, why am I making a video like this in the first place? Well, for two reasons. Reason number one is a post that I saw on a Facebook group that I'm a part of that kind of, what's the word that I'm looking for? It validated my thoughts on why certain issues that the Sims community brings up, or people within the Sims community bring up, doesn't seem to be an issue for others. And also because we have finally gotten a response. Now, I think I've gone this long without actually talking about what I'm talking about. Well, in this particular instance, I'm talking about skin tones within The Sims 4, which has been an issue for years. Several content creators have talked about it long before it became a hot button issue within these last few months of the Black Lives Matter movement and all of that that's been going on in the world. I'll first talk about the response that was given by Sim Guru Lindsay, who is, I want to get her title right because she is a big deal within the Sims community. She's the executive producer and GM of The Sims. So in my opinion, she's the big boss. And she recently put out a response to the skin tone issues that have been an issue since Sims 4 first came out. Now, I will say I didn't really get into The Sims 4 when it first, I didn't get into The Sims until maybe 2018. So by that time, The Sims 4 had already been out for 4 years. It came out in 2014, and then of course you had the other franchises that have been out since the early 2000s. So the issue has been is that a lot of the skin tones, especially the darker skin tones, just don't look like people. They don't look like real skin tones. And granted, the game is meant to have a cartoony look, but even still, having gray skin tones, ashy skin tones, just greenish looking darker skin tones, it's ridiculous, and it makes it difficult for those of us who want to make Sims that are diverse, who want to make Sims that look like us. It's hard. And so just having more variety is really important. And while they did do an update a couple of years ago adding more skin tones, I think we can all agree they could have done more. And this was all addressed in Lindsay's video that was posted on Twitter. I'll be sure to put a link in the description if you haven't seen it. By this time, I hope you have. And she addressed the issue, she addressed the concerns, but not only did she address it, she also talked about the plans and what they plan on doing and how they plan on implementing change and updating the game, not in 2 years, not when Sims 5 comes out, but like within this year 2020, within these next few months. And so I greatly appreciate that not only because I think a lot of us have been waiting for a response, but I feel like they didn't respond to the concerns until they actually had something tangible, a timeline, something to give us to say, we hear you, we know what the issues and problems are in the game, this is what we're going to do to fix it, this is when you can start seeing those changes be made. That is so important, and I commend Lindsay and the Sims team for doing that, because if she were just to make a video saying, yeah, we hear you, we understand, and then that's it, and there's no like, okay, so when are you going to fix it? When are you going to do something about it? But she actually gave us a timeline. So I think that that's really important. And then the other thing that sparked this particular video was I went on a Facebook group. I'm not going to specify which one. If you follow it, you follow it, because I don't want to call anybody out or make anyone embarrass anybody. But I posted X Mira's video that she did several years ago, about 3 years ago, about skin tones and how she was going to be releasing her own CC skin tone pack. And she did a little bit of a rant in that particular video as well about her feelings towards what were the skin tones then. And so 3 years ago, she put this video out. And if you go onto YouTube and you search Sims 4 skin tones, you can find other Sims 4, Black Sims 4 creators talking about this issue from 2 years ago, a year ago, all sorts of stuff. But it feels as if the first time and the only time that the Sims community has really heard these concerns and is when larger white Sims content creators started speaking out and making their own videos about it. Now, I am all for the ally. I really am. I think it's important, especially from a minority standpoint, to have a majority speak out on something, because it, in a way, it does kind of validate concerns, because if this person who doesn't have to deal with this particular struggle is able to recognize that it is a struggle or it is an issue, then maybe other people will too. At the same time, I as a Black person or person of color shouldn't have to have a white person speak for me. I as a woman shouldn't have to have a man speak for me. LGBT people should not have to have straight people to speak up for them. You know, it shouldn't be that way. I should be able, in a minority group, to voice my concerns on an issue and a topic, and for the powers that be to listen to that concern, take it into account, figure out a way to make it better. Like, that's how it should be. I shouldn't be ignored until the majority person, the white person, the straight person, the man, whatever, comes along and says, hey guys, this is a problem. It shouldn't be that way. It is that way, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't take, you know, again, white Simmers to speak on it, because number one, yeah, they can see it's a problem, but they don't know how it feels, because they can continue to go about making the same kind of content that they want to create. And that's why I acknowledge the fact that it is important to have allies, because the fact that they can just ignore the situation. But I feel like more allies should be lifting up minority groups' voices rather than trying to stand in the gap themselves and, you know, with their loud voices and speak on it. I wish more people would get off their soapbox and let other people who actually have a stake in this issue stand on that soapbox and speak for themselves. And I know that's a very nuanced thing to say, because there are white creators that have always implemented people of color into their gameplay. I think of the one person that I can think of is Deligracy. That's the only person I'm going to call out on anything, because when I watched her Get Famous LP, and she had other LPs, but this was kind of long before it became a fever pitch issue. Obviously, it was an issue before her, but she was already putting out that kind of content. And so, but again, it shouldn't take that for things to be done. And I say that to say that I put this post on Facebook. I don't know if I explained that. And a commenter commented on this idea of they've never seen a video by a black creator. They've never seen a black creator talk about skin tones. They've never seen it. They don't know anything about it. And then they entered the caveat of they only watch Little Simsy and Plum Bella. That's the only people that they watch, or whatever. And it's just like, that's the problem right there. And then asked me who were black or people of color content creators that they could watch. And it kind of just goes back to, yeah, I had to get on YouTube and search for black content creators and like really look for them, because especially a couple of years ago, they did not pop up in the search. When you search Sims 4 content, you can do that too. Like, you can actively look for people of color, LGBT, people in the disabled community. You can look for that content. And I give you this example. About 10 years ago, I was watching television, randomly watching television. I saw this documentary on gender dysphoria and transgenderism. And I'd never heard of it before in my entire life. I was like 18, 19 years old, never heard of it before in my entire life. But it piqued my interest, and so I continued to watch this documentary, and then I got online and I started doing research because I'd never heard of the concept of gender dysphoria. It made no sense to me, and I wanted to know more about it. And so I looked into it, I researched it, and made an opinion that people who suffer from gender dysphoria, transgender people, are people, and they should be treated with decency and respect in society, in the workplace, all of it. And I formulated these opinions and these beliefs long before I ever met any trans person ever. Like, literally almost a decade before I actually became friends with an out trans person. And only because where I live, there's just not that many around that are out. And now I work with one and I'm friends with him, but I had already formulated these opinions on an issue that really does not affect me personally, because I don't know what it feels like to look at myself in the mirror or feel like the body that I have doesn't match what I think it should be. But long before I ever came into contact with anyone that could say, oh, well, you should check out this activist, this trans right activist, I was already doing my own research. So it is possible for people to actively seek out content by those who are in an other category. It is very easy for you to do, and to share their content, uplift them, to promote them. It is so easy for you to do. No one should have to call you out on it. No one should have to make a fuss about it before you recognize it. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I decided to go ahead and sit and make this video, because the excuse of not knowing, it just doesn't work anymore. Not knowing is no longer an excuse. And living in ignorance is no longer an excuse, because we have the ability to find out that knowledge, to find Black content creators, to find LGBT creators, to find all the different types of people out there. And they don't all make the same content. Like, not every Black YouTuber, Sims 4 YouTuber makes the same kind of content, just like not every white Sims YouTuber makes the same kind of content. So you can find someone who you can enjoy, whose style that you can like and you can appreciate, you can promote. So I think that the Sims 4 team is moving in the right direction. I think that they are listening. I think they recognize that there's work to be done. I feel like once they do move towards Sims 5, there are going to be a lot of things that will just be Sims 5 base game that we as a community have had to kind of fight for years now. And so I want to give kudos, I want to give props to the Sims 4 team for making that effort, for actually coming to the table with solutions. And I do want to commend the allies out there who are promoting people of color voices and other voices on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, on all the platforms, because I think that that's important. Now, that being said, you don't deserve a cookie because these are just normal things. But I do want to say thank you for recognizing it, for taking the time to look into it, to recognize it, and to promote it. And so, like I said, this is a slightly different video than I've ever done before, but I do hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, let me know by way of pressing the like button. Comment down below your thoughts. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Are there other things that the Sims community or the Sims team could be doing to make this a better game? Please don't say anything about Better Babies. I care less about Better Babies. I age my babies up as soon as they're born. I can't stand babies in The Sims 4. But, and if you haven't already and you want to see more content from me, please subscribe. I try to post every week, and I would love to have you be a part of the Southie family. As always, my name is Cece, and I promise never to break your game. Bye.